Alright, welcome back guys. Today we are here with the new 8.2 patch notes. I've been looking forward to speaking about these patch notes for a while now, and it's a pretty it's a pretty promising update in a lot of aspects. Um, we're gonna get into what those are, but at least in my opinion, I think there's also a lot that still needs to be done, and I think this is kind of one of those updates where it's not gonna be like last update where we had a massive server merge change. This is just kind of one of those updates where it's a step forward to something bigger. If that makes sense. So yeah, let's get straight into it. As you can see, we have the beautiful image of for this patch note, which is the new French destroyer line. Very beautiful image. Um, let's start with the new game mode, which is probably the biggest thing this update I would say. That Wargaming have been working on. It's a new game mode called Turbo Strike. Um, I'm not gonna go read through everything. You can read through this if you want on your own time. I'm just gonna get my thoughts and basically, in essence, with it's a respawn with a lot more gimmicks added on. Um, you have it's base capture. You can respawn. It's one map. There are arms race buffs, which if you don't know from World of Warships PC, arms race buffs are basically buffs to your ships that well, they do what they say. They buff parts of your ship. So if they go, but they can buff, for example, your gun reload, you know, your speed, turn time, whatever, concealment, whatever, all those kinds of things. Those are kind of like examples of what an arms race buff would look like. And they spawn on different parts of the maps, and they can stack them 4 times. So like you can have a reload buffer, for example, that can stack 4 times. For example. Um, so yeah, it's interesting. Another respawn mode is always going to be welcome. Respawn is a really fun mode in this game, especially at high tier. It's really fun to get those like fast reloading ships or brawling ships in there. So I think this is a good addition to the game from a principle perspective. Now obviously the concern is they have missiles in this game, which should really have a big asterisk on them. Because they are only in this mode currently. They are not in randoms, ranked, or anything else. They are just in this mode. So just keep that in mind. Obviously, I know some people are concerned. Are they testing this for the actual game? I don't know. Um, I hope not. I hope we don't necessarily have missiles now, unless the missiles are shooting planes. Now we can start talking. But missiles missiles hitting other ships. That's a problem, of course. So hopefully, it just stays as a kind of a game mode exclusive thing. So yeah, there's missiles. And do note how in the attribute enhancement section it says bots tier 5 to 10. That can mean one thing only. That means that there will be the game mode will have at least guaranteed the ability to have bots from tier 5 to 10, which means that the highest tier could be tier 9 or 10, and the lowest tier could be tier 5 or 6. Something to think about. They don't really get it. This is not confirming directly that this is what the tiers are. My assumption is though that this is probably what the tiers are going to look like, somewhere in this range of tier 5 to 10. And if it is tier 10, that's really great for the game because we don't really have tier 10 game modes. People have been asking for them for years, and I think this is a great mode to have. Basically, a respawn with some more fun to it. So I think that'd be good. Obviously, there's some disabled systems like your camouflages don't have any buffs, but they do still have the visuals. So yeah, moving on to the new game mechanic, variable torpedoes. Now, do not get confused with alternative torpedoes, which are a different game mechanic on the mini Gumo right now. Alternative torpedoes are torpedoes you can switch in battle. Variable torpedoes, this is just one torpedo you have. You can't switch it for anything else. You're stuck with it if it's on your ship. So the way it works is there's a certain range that your torpedoes do a maximum damage. So in the example here, they're using 6 kilometers. There's a threshold of your torps will do a maximum damage um, from 0 to 6 kilometers, for example. Once you reach 6 kilometers and beyond, your torpedoes slowly decrease in damage. They gradually decrease in damage until they hit 60% of the original torpedo damage. So let's say at 12 kilometers, you probably gonna be, if you had a torpedo that did 4,000 damage at 12 kilometers, your torpedo's probably gonna be doing what? Maybe 2k. Yeah, 2k. Or no, like 2.5k, 3k. You get the idea though. You're gonna lose a significant amount of torpedo damage. So the way it works is that it basically incentivizes you to use your torpedoes for closer range engagements, but they're still gonna do damage at longer range just at a significantly lower um, percentage from the original version. So again, it rewards YOLOing, I guess, while also not completely punishing you. So it's kind of like it kind of takes the idea of Paolo Emilio, where it has no torp range, and you can still. And Paolo Emilio obviously has incredible torp damage at close range. Um, but no torp range. You stuck at 4.8, so you can't go beyond that. These ships they can go beyond that now. So now you can not only can you YOLO, you have the ability to still do torp damage at range, which gives you a bit more flexibility at in games where you're not gonna be able to YOLO all the time. So it's interesting. Um, I think it's cool. I think we should see this more often. Instead of just seeing 4 kilometer torp range ships and you're kind of stuck in a game where there's CVs and you're just getting bullied. But yeah, for now they will just be on the new French destroyer line. Um, so that's cool. Um, Speaking of the new French destroyer line, here they are. We're gonna get a split release. This is the odd tiers first. So we have the tier 5. I honestly forgot how to pronounce tier 5. Odriat? No, I did not pronounce that right. I'm very sorry. Um, the tier 7 is the Lahardi. The tier 9 is the Orage. It is not. That is not misspelled. It is not orange. It actually is. It actually is the Orage. Believe it or not. Um, and yeah, new French Shores. I'm biased because I really, really, really enjoy French Shores in this game. Colbert, Marceau, that's my bread and butter right there. I really do enjoy French Shores, so I was looking forward to when this line was coming out. Um, but I also think that this is going to be a very interesting line in the sense that it's not your typical gun destroyer line like we've seen in the past few destroyer lines. The past two destroyer lines were Gdansk and Vergolo. Very gun heavy focused destroyers, not very torp focused. So it is nice. It's nice to see another, torpedo focused destroyer in the game, just sort of some variety and release. And they have obviously the variable torpedoes. They do have one other thing that is specific to this line, which they have a new speed boost. Now it says emergency engine accelerator, which is I think the same name as the one the Italian destroyers have, but this is no normal engine accelerator. Instead of the 20% for 12 seconds, you have a speed boost that increases acceleration and deceleration. That is something that is important. Deceleration usually does not get affected with speed boost. This speed boost affects deceleration and top speed by 25% for 10 seconds. So it's only 10 seconds, but that is the biggest buff in speed in the game right now from a speed boost. 25%. And its acceleration and deceleration. So you have basically a better version of a leg mod. You have essentially like a leg mod Minotaur built into your speed boost when you're accelerating with it. So for 10 seconds, which is not long, but for 10 seconds, you can momentarily become like the best dodging ship in the game, basically. Because it's a destroyer, it'll probably have at least somewhat decent acceleration. So, yeah, and starting from tier 7, they get the variable torpedoes, so the tier 5 doesn't have them. So yeah, interesting line. I'll be looking forward to playing them, and grinding them out. So, look forward to that. Super Ship Season title. I really need to know where they get the names from the Super Ships seasons. Like, do they just randomly pick like a name that sounds somewhat like nice or like edgy? I don't know. um. Well, the first good news, which I think is the best news of the whole Super Ship seasons. Forget everything else. Don't forget everything else. It's also one other big piece of big news. The main thing is that we're finally getting a break It doesn't come until August. Thank goodness that gives us 2 months to just rest from super ships. I am honestly getting pretty tired of seeing super ships every other game now. And we really should have gotten a 2 month break for this super ship season before this super ship season. Um, just because it's just relentless to have super ships for like 6 months of the year with like zero break. Or actually no, 4 months. By like 3 or 4 months. Because there was a break before February, but yeah, you get the point. It's just 4 months, just constant super shifts. Um, so that's good. And the new super ship will be American Super Battleship Maine. Um, if you don't know what Maine is on PC at least, it is the Super Montana, and it is literally just a Montana with 16 guns. That's all it is. There's no, it doesn't get a gun caliber increase. Doesn't get, you know, reload boosters. Nope, just the Montana with 16 guns. It has a combat instruction on PC. I don't know how it'll translate here, but yeah, that's the gist of the ship. Um, they still want to gather data on live. I still have yet to see like a live change happen to super ships. Like truly, the last time they said they did, I'm not convinced it did anything good. Um, be nice if they let us know what exactly they changed. Um, and in the super ship season, all the previous super ships will be remaining available when the next one starts up in August. So that's gonna give us 9, I think. Right? No, 7. My bad. 7 super ships to go with. Speaking of super ship matchmaking, um, apparently Wargaming have cracked the code and discovered that they can actually change the game live, which is kind of incredible. We don't have to wait for another update on the super ship MM. So they just kind of go on to say, we can change the tier, we can dynamically control the tiers that super ships will face, on live. We can do fine adjustments. I'll believe it when I see it. If it happens and they do it, good. If it doesn't happen, well, then what's the point of saying it? That's kind of my thinking. Um, the main thing though about super ship matchmaking is that tier 9s will no longer face super ships. Oh my gosh. How is it taking us this long to discover this is a problem? This was a problem with the first super ship season all the way back last year. This was a severe problem since then. It it's sad it took us until June to get here, but I'm glad it's happening nonetheless. Because oh man, trying to grind tier 9s against super ships is just depressing to witness. Like these poor guys playing like Yugomo. Playing Yugomo's already sad, but playing Yugomo against like Edgar, that's just like, yeah, that's just sad to witness. Um, so this should help tier 9 players a lot, and it should also make super ships less oppressive in the matchmaking, because now they only face tier 10s, so now you can't have like a tier 9 like, you know, div facing super ships, and you only have like 0 super ships. So hopefully that's the case. We're giving account login update. This really only affects people who have multiple accounts on the same email, I think. Um, or people who have tons of accounts that they have across different servers. So okay, that's good. Themes. July, obviously, 4th of July event is in July. Shocking. So that's gonna be that one's gonna be focused on that Blitz Pass. New cruiser, tier 7 cruiser, Boise. If you don't know, Boise historically is a Brooklyn class light cruiser. August, they decided to go an interesting route with August. CV Blitz Pass with Here U41. I don't remember when the last CV Blitz Pass was. It's been a while. Um, I guess for the CV mains, I guess this is one for you. Here U41 at tier 8. As if tier 8 needed more CVs, but I guess it is what it is. Um, Also, something to keep in mind, the super ship choice box. So when you're like choosing like a coupon for a super ship, like usage, it shows you max 6 super ships, or it lets you choose up to max 6 super ships. So I guess there's that. Um, Bot logic. I don't know why this is hidden away here, like in between large pieces of text. Should have been like massively upfront. Bot logic updated. Oh my gosh, they actually changed some of the bot in some way. Bots will no longer attack targets that are hidden in smoke and not detected. Now, this is a really good change if you're not detected. It's the key part. If you're not detected in smoke, they won't attack you. Okay, that's great. The problem is wargaming. You gotta fix them from stop. You gotta stop them from detecting you to begin with in the smoke. I think now if that's what's fixed on top of this, and they didn't say it, okay, but at least mention it if that's the case. So yeah, fix the actual detection issues with bots. It's great that this is a great step forward in fixing bots. I think it's better that they did something rather than nothing. But again, we gotta fix the core issue, which is the detection, and then we gotta move on to obviously the movement of the bots. Skyboxes, we updated the skyboxes on dozens of maps. That's cool. I don't actually know what it looks like yet, so I'm actually interested to see what they look like. If they look great, that's just amazing for the game. Otherwise, I really this is not really a change I'm looking forward to. Like, not that it's a bad one, but not that it's like anything game changing for me. Here's the collection book if you're interested. It's just rewards and stuff as per usual. Camels. We actually have pictures for the camels. I know. Can you believe it? um, New tier 8 cruiser Nottingham's Iris. I'm pretty sure it's supposed to say Irish, not Iris. Emerald. Johnston specific Phantom. Bredis's the Grand. I'm assuming this is translated to the Grand Army or the Glorious Army. I'm gonna assume it's one of those two. Wisconsin's War Paint. That's a really nice looking camo. Maine's Eagle Eye because if something about Super American Battleship wasn't American enough, we gotta have the camo that makes it look 10 times more American. Oh, here comes America again. I mean, it is the 4th of July near soon. Boise's All Gun Blazing. Black Farragut's All Gun Blazing. I don't know why Black Farragut's actually getting this. I'm gonna assume Black Farragut's in the July Blitz Pass because there's no other reason they'd be giving us a special camo for it. Here U 41's Ghost Carrier. This is a cool camo. I actually like what they did with the flight deck with like the little design here. I don't really care for the bottom of the carrier. I mean, your carrier, you're looking at it from the top down view most of the time. The camo on the carrier usually doesn't look that good from the side, only if it's like glowing or something. But I do like the design on the flight deck. New commanders, um, portraits that we can't really see, but okay. um, Daily login reward for July. The daily login reward will be yeah, I don't really know actually. Oh, here it is. I don't know why I was looking at the wrong thing. Marblehead. That's Cruiser Marblehead. Okay. Um, I don't really know what to say. It's Marblehead. August we get um Kamikaze. I feel like we've gotten Kamikaze before. Is it just me? I think we got it before as a login reward. So those are your ships. Low tier ships. Nothing crazy. They'll probably just get your premium crate going for the missions. The one thing that everybody loves about update well not update day, but patch notes. Update day is not here yet. Patch notes. Look at all these new premiums. It's actually a pretty long list of premiums. Um, let's start off with Johnston. Now they give you this long description of Johnston. The point is, Johnston is a Fletcher class destroyer with sap and burst fire and sonar, along with the smoke and speed boost. Now, if you don't know about me, I really despise the Fletcher class in this game. I think it is one of the most destroyer classes that are just the wasted potential, like just across the board, really wasted potential. Um, and I'm ready to see Johnston. The last time I got a Fletcher class was Halford, and that was possibly one of the worst destroyers to release in this game. Um, so I'm here for Johnston. Wargaming did a good job. Fair play. If they didn't do a good job, we have to start talking about the situation with these Fletcher class destroyers. um, so also Johnston's a very historical destroyer. Um, so they definitely don't want to mess this one up. Um, Nottingham, British tier A cruiser. It's a paper ship. Balanced HE and AP, good accuracy, decent survivability. We'll see. British cruisers have been kind of hit or miss recently for the premiums, so we'll have to see. Brennus, tier 10 French premium cruiser. When's the last time we had that? Do we have a We don't have a premium tier 10 French cruiser, do we right now? No, we have Conde, but that's a super ship. Um, and Marseille is a tech tree. Yeah, so it's the first premium tier 10. Oh, Colbert. How am I forgetting? Not thinking right now. Yeah, we have Colbert, but this is the first like heavy cruiser premium, I guess. If you don't know from PC, it's Henri that has bigger guns, less guns, no reload booster. That's on PC at least. My my hope for Brennus is pretty low. I really don't have hope for Brennus. I'm not gonna lie. Um, if it's good, fantastic. If it's not, well, can I be shocked? Um, Next, the battleship that I think everybody in this game has been well, not asking, but waiting for, maybe besides New Jersey, Wisconsin. Wisconsin is finally coming to the game. Just, if we want to talk about history, this is one of the most historical ships they will ever be releasing into this game. Like from a tier 10 perspective, I don't. There's not gonna be many that are gonna be like significantly higher than in Wisconsin in historical value, especially for a lot of Americans. Um, and obviously the game has combat instructions. You land 18 hits of your main guns for reload boost. Um, to have your reload, so it's gonna be a 50% reload based off of this. 15 seconds with precise aiming, not precise aim skill. It says precise aiming. Don't get confused. But low base survivability. Because it is an Iowa hole after all. So looking forward to this. I know a lot of people are going to be looking forward to get this ship. Hopefully, it's a bundle. I think that'd be a great way to release a ship. So yeah, Boise is going to be the July Blitz Pass ship. It, like I said, it's a Brooklyn class light cruiser. Nothing really to say about it. It does have smoke though, so something to keep in mind. Here U-41 is here you a tier 8 with shorter prep time, better hangar capacity. Um, that's kind of it. Again, the Here U-41. If you're a CV player, sure, but I'm not even sure this is exciting for CV players based off the description. Because just bringing Here U-41 to tier 8 and just buffing small things like prep time, that doesn't really make it better than Shokaku. But okay, Bamboozled. What a name, Bamboozled. Tier 10 Pan Asian Destroyer. Um, it doesn't. They don't tell us what Pan Asian chip it is, so we don't really know what to base it off of. We'll find out, I guess. Um, Now a destroyer that I can't believe that comes to the game. Black Attili Regolo. You know, I was actually messing around with the idea that this would not, they wouldn't release a Black Attili Regolo. It's a bad idea. Lo and behold, they released a Black Attili Regolo the next other day. That's just great news for me. I love my life. Um, Before we get onto the actual ship itself, why was this not a sister ship? You know, they added Boise, which is a sister ship. Wisconsin is a sister ship. We're gonna ignore Brennus and Nottingham because those are just paper ships. Johnson, a very historical destroyer, Johnston. Kiryu 41, it's not a sister ship, but you know, it's still a real ship. Black Attili Regolo, like there were multiple sister ships to Regolo, right? Like this doesn't have to be a Black Regolo. It is. So it is what it is. Let's move on to what it actually is, which is improved rudder shift, faster gun and torpedo traverse, and you have no speed boost, but you have fuel smoke, sonar, rapid reload. Best destroyer hunter in the game? Question mark. We'll have to see. We don't know what the level of these skills yet, but we could be shaping up to see a really interesting destroyer in the game. And Regolo is already, it says high risk, high reward. I mean, Regolo is already a high skill, high reward ship because while there is an element of risk involved, there's also an element of skill with having no gun range. So, and focusing on SAP. So, gonna be interesting to see. Um, and then obviously main, after 18 shell hits, you activate a damage, a common destruction that buffs your A damage by 30%. So basically like a built-in DFA 1. No, because DFA 1's 75%, so like half of a DFA 1. with a 20% reduction to incoming damage. See, that's significant. Basically, just the damage reduction boost for a salvo that you take, and the 16 gun layout. Okay, ship balancing. The ship balancing continues. Congratulations, Wargaming. You think keep this going, even if it's small. Just keep it going. Um, and it may not seem like a lot, but this might be like one of the greatest balance changes of all time to this game. Like this is like a comeback story for these three ships. Last time Venezia was like the big story of, this ship that really turned into its own after the update. This is the one that will turn these ships into their own after the update. Xianyang, Chengmu, Yu Yang. These three destroyers have finally gotten the torpedo reload booster they've deserved. After 5 years. Yes, it's been over 5 years since these ships released. Oh man, rejoice. Rejoice, Pan-Asian destroyer players, rejoice. We've been in dark times. Really dark times for these ships. These were arguably the worst ships in the game. Not worst ships, worst destroyers, I should specify. And they weren't the worst ships in the game, but they were the worst, some of the worst destroyers for their tiers. Because, like, they just didn't do anything. They were just worse versions of their American counterparts. And now they have torpedo booster. I'm really looking forward to playing Yu Yang. Yu Yang. Let me put this into perspective. I know people have been very concerned about the strength level of these ships now. Like, oh, this is gonna be overpowered. Let's take a step back and realize Yu Yang is by no stretch of the imagination overpowered in its current state. If you think it's overpowered, if you think it's remotely like a meta ship, we're not playing the same game. That's all I'm gonna say. We're not playing the same game. These ships have been overshadowed, overpowered by every single destroyer that's released after them. It's ridiculous. The only destroyer that is currently worse than Yu Yang right now at tier 10 is probably a girl's boy. And that's not a great ship either. But Yu Yang has been nerfed so many times. Like, if the fear is another Shima, we already have Black Shima. Black Shima's already a better Shima. We have Genon, Black Genon. The torpedo spam is already bad. And Yu Yang getting torpedo booster, yes, it technically does add to the bad, but at the same time, it will never be as oppressive or as annoying as a Genon. Because you know why? Because Genon has fuel smoke, 28k HP, has 25 torpedo potential with a torpedo booster, has more torpedo boosters than Yu Yang, first of all, and it has better guns. Yu Yang will never reach the level of nuisance that Genon ever has. Yes, it's another torpedo boat, kind of like Shima, but also unlike Shima, you're slower, so you can't YOLO as fast. You're the same concealment as Shima, so you're not stealthier. You have better guns on paper, but let's be honest, Yu Yang guns are nothing to write home about. They're just worse gearing guns, which if you think gearing guns are something to write home about, I don't know what to say. Not in today's meta. And also, Yu Yang is going to enter a meta where, finding 4 or 5 battleships is not the norm anymore. 3 DDs is probably what you're going to see most of the time, and probably some Genons as well added in. Maybe a small enter too. So it's not like Yu Yang is going to be entering the meta and just crushing these destroyers and cruisers every single time. A light cruiser that dodges this thing's orbs, the Yu Yang can't defend itself against a light cruiser like that. Can't defend itself against destroyers still, because it has deep water torpedoes. So, yeah. The only one that might be a bit of a concern is Xianyang. Not for tier 8, more for tier 7. If a Xianyang gets into a tier 7 game, that it will have pretty insane torque power, I will not lie. Luckily, they did make sure to keep it at torque reload 1 for tier 9 and 8, just to prevent the reload from being too fast on these. Yu Yang does have the level 2, so that's kind of my 2 cents on what the buffs of Yu Yang and how they are deserved and how it won't make the ships overpowered. Again, I'll be looking forward to it. Again, I have a bias as a destroyer player, but they had to be buffed at some point, and this is the simplest, easiest buff they could do to this line, and I'm really happy it's happening. So yeah. What's next? Brand new tutorial experience. That's great. Great to see Wargaming. That they're updating tutorials. I think they're pretty old now, honestly. They're pretty outdated. But, could we also fix other stuff with the game? The second wave of French destroyers is coming. So that's gonna be the I'm not even gonna bother saying the tier 6 because I just can't do it. The adventure, that's what it's called, the adventure. I'm not pronouncing it the French. I'm gonna call it the English way. And the tier 10 Cassard. So the even tiers. Um, great. A rework of black ships. What does this mean for gaming? Please elaborate. This is not a big enough elaboration to explain what you're talking about. A fresh look at this iconic fleet with plans to enhance the gameplay mechanic whether you own one or not. So the idea is to make them more rewarding and distinct, and you plan to change the game mechanics of them. Again, this is a very vague description of what you're planning to do. Are you planning to change the economic bonuses, the way you obtain them, or are they just gonna get buffed? I mean, they certainly won't get nerfed. I don't think, because they're premium ships. They're getting sold for money. So I don't know if Working will actually not sell them, nerf them at all. So we really need a better description. I really hope it's not just buffs. I really hope it's not just buffs to already good black ships. Now, if it's like a Black Charles Martel, okay, well, I mean, fair enough. I think there's the buffs, but like, don't buff like Black Republic. Like, you don't need to buff that. Leave it alone. So I'm concerned, mildly concerned about the rework of black ships, just because we don't really have an idea of what they're planning to do yet. But yeah, that's my video on the patch notes of 8.2. Let me know what you think, guys. I think it's a overall, again, I think it's a good step forward as an update. I don't think it's as big of an update like the last one where we had more balance changes, server merge. You know, it's not that level of update. It's more of an update where like this is kind of like something we're just gonna give in between. There's just content coming by, new ships, new events, some balance changes still, which is good. I think they should still at least do at least something every update for balance changes. So and obviously boss getting changed a little bit. Yeah, like I said, I'll have to see what happens on update day. But yeah, that'll be it for me, guys. Thank you for listening. See you guys next time.